Hello, guys. This is Modest Major here, bringing you some commentary with two of my favorite members of the Halo community, going by the names of Cray Spartan and IKleenUp. Why don't you say hello to the audience?
Good,
Hello.
Chris. What's going on?
And today I basically brought these guys on to talk about Destiny because, well, me and Cleanup were originally going to be the only ones doing this because we have very similar opinions regarding Destiny pre the actual beta coming out. And then I thought, we could give our opinions post it and see if they changed in any way. And then I heard Craig Spartan saying a couple of things about Destiny, and I thought we all shared a fairly similar viewpoint, and I thought I'd go into it. Now, I know I've been negative about Destiny in the past. I'm going to try and keep this constructive. Obviously, I don't want us all to just be bashing on the game. We all have our own viewpoints. So I'm going to go into it and ask you, Cleanup, right off the bat, what you thought about Destiny pre going into it and how your expectations changed a little bit about that. Let's start with the PvP as well. How do you feel about
Oh, the okay. Well. First of all, my original thought, and I thought of this like way back last year, back when I was on Viewpoint with Dom and everybody and BBK and Diddy and everybody. We talked about it, and I just said, I think it's going to be a really great co-op experience. I think that's what Bungie excels at. Not to say that their multiplayer obviously is bad on previous games or previous installments, but I think the thoughts that they had going into Halo Reach and what they're doing right now as far as with Destiny, I think is something that they feel maybe like they were meant to do. And
that?
it's really like them. And like I've said before, Bungie is a very interesting company. They're very like outside of the box, um, very thought provoking, other things like that. And they kind of turn you on your head a little bit about what you think should be like the focus of a multiplayer experience. And I think going into it, I wanted it to I wanted to think like, hey, I'm gonna take this game for what it is. It's a brand new experience. I've never had anything like it. So yeah, it was just that. I thought it'd be a great co-op experience. Other than that, I was very skeptical of the PvP, and that's just the way it was.
Yeah. Well, and what about you, Crazed? How do you feel about the PvP now that you've put a little bit of time into it?
I got out of it pretty much what I thought it was going to be. To be absolutely honest, to put this as fairly as I possibly can, because I have played COD in the past. I've played other games that are similar to this experience. Now, this is a totally unique experience. This is not COD in any way, shape, or form. But I have played other games where you have these loadouts and you have these um, random factors, and I got pretty much what I expected out of it. To me, the PvP ended up being a frustrating experience.
Yeah.
Uh, I say that because of all the random one hit type of deaths that I've received, and not saying I'm doing bad, but some of the game modes, granted, we only have the one game mode control, which is not my favorite to begin with. Um, it was something I actually just stopped playing the objective. I just stopped doing it because it was not enjoyable. So I just tried to rack up kills. Um,
Yeah.
It's something that's really frustrating, to be honest, because they seem to put domination into every game nowadays. Like we had Hardpoint with Titanfall, which was essentially just domination with very little changes to it whatsoever,
yeah,
and then they kind of repeated the formula going into Destiny, and it just kind of seems like to me like I wish there was a way that they actually incentivized you to play the objective in those game types because you just feel like a sitting duck. You just feel like I'm putting myself at risk for the good of the team, and my team might not even care like about what I'm doing. Like maybe if you pre-plan going into a lobby and say, hey, like two of us play objective this go, maybe two of us play it next turn, but for now, like let's just go in there and some of us play it. But like if you're going in there solo, it's a horrible experience because it's like I
Yeah.
could play the objective, but then I've automatically become the team's lackey. I'm like the guy picking up the pieces. Like I'll be over here fetching you an objective, guys. And it's like, oh my god, look at that
Yeah.
nerd. I'm here killing people. You don't want to be missing out on the action. It feels horrible. So yeah.
Right.
and
Like when I played my first game, like I was really hyped up for it, and I ended up even. I ended up 11 and 11. So 11 kills, 11 deaths. And I felt okay about it, but I still noticed like there were some things like I think they hit a lot of things on the head as far as campaign goes. Like, I think the campaign's going to be really, really great. Like, one of the better campaigns to come out probably this year.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for that and to forge ahead as far as that goes. But I can talk about PvP like later. But yeah, like campaign is definitely kind of where it's at right now. That's, I think, the bread and butter of this game.
That's
And I
what a
think,
lot of people are talking about right now.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people are putting their hopes and dreams into the PvE. But I will say that the beta, like, it was a very, very small piece of the pie, and it's very hard to judge the whole pie by it. There were problems with the PvE that have been present in a lot of MMOs, and I have this massive like question mark over my head right now of like, oh, if that's further explored upon, that will be really annoying. But if this aspect's further explored upon, that could be cool. And it's kind of like really, really risky. It's like playing roulette right now, trying to work out, what they're going to choose, what they're going to pick and choose, and what they're going to put away. Because I will say I thought the boss battles, although the animations for them were amazing, aesthetically they looked really imposing. It became this bullet spongy fest of like, how many bullets does it take to put into this guy to kill him? And there was also
right.
Yeah.
smoke and mirrors concerning, and I talked about this in my video, so sorry if you're hearing it again. But it became like this, this routine of just like, okay, so this is what you can use against me, this is what I can use against it. Let's go. And I feel like the fact that I worked out that formula in pretty much, 2 hours of playing is a fairly bad sign. And I hope like that the later, dungeon raids and stuff that are going to come out in the game are a lot more on the complex side of things, because
Well,
I just question it.
they're saying like that some of the missions overall could be like 4 hours in length, even if you're playing with like a co-op, like Fire Team or whatever it might be called. Like they're saying it could last 4 hours, some of these missions. So I'm really intrigued on how they're going to make it last that long. Is it going to span multiple planets? Like, what is it going to be? Is it just going to be one giant layer that you're finally sifting through? I'm kind of anxious to see that part. So we'll see how that works.
I think I question what their idea of depth is going into this game, because there's two different types of depth. There's a depth that, comes down to the gameplay mechanics, that comes down to the way in which the game interacts and the amount of approaches and options you have to, going into each dungeon, to encountering each boss battle, etc., and the ways you can, and the tools at your disposal, and figuring out which ones are the best. Then there's the depth of, we can make this longer by drawing out the combat experience for an incredibly long time, or drawing out the travel distance to get from A to point B, from point A to point B. It's something I've had a problem with in a lot of open world games, is that like you get this massive, massive world, but it's the sacrifice of depth in all the little small pieces. The world feels like a little bit less handcrafted because they've put so much time into making this massive world that all the little small bits don't really add up to a like overall fulfilling experience. It's just
Yeah.
like, you go to an amusement park and there's little rides and it's like, oh, that was kind of fun in a way, but now I'm bored of it because I figured out the ride and it's not scary anymore. Haha,
right,
let's go
it's
to the
almost
next
like
one.
I want to compare it almost like in that aspect to like maybe a Grand Theft Auto or Red Dead Redemption in a way, where it
Yeah.
does have kind of like the story and the open world, like you kind of like you said, they have to focus on this entire world. That it's like maybe if it would have focused maybe on, instead of 12 things, maybe 8 good, really great things, and just drop the other four, it'd probably be a lot different experience. I mean, we'll see.
So,
You
Well,
know,
here's a question for you guys. Sorry to interrupt, Craig. You can go after this, but like, in terms of the PvP, would you want that scrapped in order to make more content for the PvE side of things, and to
yeah,
make it more finely honed and more, tuned?
100% yes.
yeah, I would agree with that.
Now you can say whatever you were going to say, Craig. Sorry, I've been interrupting you at every option.
Um, one of the things that I've noticed, and to kind of reiterate what you were saying, is that I've played games such as World of Warcraft, which is a very good MMO, and I've also played a game that's probably heard of, Final Fantasy Online.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm bringing this up is the comparison is in World of Warcraft. There is a lot of those little itty bitty things. Like you can go into a house and you can explore the house. You can go into all sorts of other things. You can explore these things. This is a major, major part of an MMO. And though Bungie isn't calling it that, it is what it is. Final Fantasy Online cut a lot of that out, and the population died like almost immediately from its release date. Because there
Right.
is no exploration. There's no finding those little nooks and crannies going, hey, come look and see what I found over here. It's kind of neat. I think that's going to be missing in the PvE area. Um, but I overall enjoyed the PvE stuff. I thought it was pretty well done. Um, I didn't particularly like how the missions are set up. Meaning you go on a mission and that's the mission you're on. I like the more of the open world exploration type of stuff. To
Right.
me, it reminded me a lot of Spartan Ops. It really did, because you went on a mission and it was scripted, and this is what you did and this is what you did, and you had to go here, hit the button, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Right. And again, like we want to say this, like we realize it's a beta, guys. Before you start
Yeah.
jumping on us like vultures,
Beta
okay?
haters, hashtag beta haters, right?
It's just like we
Yeah.
understand this is a beta
We
and they're gonna
understand.
work on stuff for a month or whatever, and then it's gonna be released, and then it is
Yeah.
what it is.
And also understand there's a lot of angles to this game. There's the angle of this is Bungie, who have created a trilogy of some of the best games that have come out, and I'm totally fine with them changing to another genre. I'm not sat here saying like, okay, are assault rifles in this game? Well, that's a point against Destiny. There's plasma rifles? No, none of them. Okay, point against. No, I'm not like that. I'm just saying
Right.
like I expect them to revolutionize the MMO genre in the same way that they revolutionized the FPS. I can't help but yearn for that, especially when the MMO genre is currently kind of suffering with a lot of games having to go to free to play, a lot of games like funneling out money and just completely going bankrupt almost, like games like Star Wars: The Old Republic,
Yeah.
Elder Scrolls Online. I don't think is doing particularly well. I'd have to imagine it might have done well just
No.
because of the Elder Scrolls name, but critically and like commercially, I think a lot of people have fairly bad opinions about that game. And some of the things they're doing, at least in the beta, I kind of worry about like their core design philosophies and how they're going to like extend the longevity of the game really, really, really long term. And
That's
yeah,
actually a
I
big
don't know.
concern of mine too. I just don't know. Granted, we only got the smallest piece of that campaign, and I finished it in a matter of, God, a few hours.
Yeah,
And I was at max level at 8, and granted, it's only 8, but I think they're only going up to 20. I think that's your max level, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, that's what
Right.
people seem to be saying,
How,
and they
how
might stretch it out.
soon is
Like
that gonna? How soon are we gonna get to that?
I'm not going to doubt them too much. I'm going to hope that they're going to do what they did with Halo Reach, because essentially Halo Reach in the beta, the max rank was Warrant Officer, which was a like quite low rank, and then they actually increased the level cap, not by that much, but the thing is it took really long to reach Warrant Officer in the actual game, like way longer than it did in the beta, and then the ranks above that took absolutely forever. I don't think like if
Yes, it
I
did.
in all honesty, even in their changes of design and their school of thought that they had. They've never really changed it towards like progression and having a long and satisfying one. Like maybe people will come up and say, "Oh, they got rid of the ranking system." No, but like at least in Halo Reach, it was extended. There was a ton of customization to unlock along the way, and I don't think they've
Right.
forgotten that. I'd like to hope they haven't forgotten that anyway.
Like some things that I think they really hit. Um, and this is cheap, like whatever. It's terrible that this is a highlight, but with the way games are going now, like it is like something to touch on. The menu system
Is
uh,
incredible.
is great. It's some of the best that I've seen in games to date.
Yeah, there's
And
actually very
Bungie,
few games that Battlefield 4 menu is terrible.
right, like every game menu seems to suck. Like, is it just me?
It's a bit like you might think like you might like people are going to undervalue it and say it's just a menu, but if you really think, especially in an RPG game where you're going to want to be checking your gear every 2 seconds, you're going to want to be comparing it to other stuff. This is a pretty like pivotal part of the game, and they've just nailed it. Like whenever I sat there hasn't been a moment where I've thought, oh, I really want to get to my armor set. Where is that again? And then you just open it up and you're there, and you're like, oh, okay, that was the easiest thing ever, and everything's just like
Right.
at the
Yeah,
touch of a button, and it all makes
sense.
sense. You're never like, okay, why is that there instead of there? In a lot of games recently, you get like this whole confusion of like, why is this on the back end? Okay, a good example of that actually is the Xbox One UI. The Xbox One UI at this moment sucks. Like if you're wondering like about
Agreed.
achievements and how to get back end and how to compare and how to do stuff like that, it's a nightmare. In fact, just the other day, I thought that the Destiny beta was actually broken for me. I thought I couldn't download it, and I was like, oh no, for the love of God, it's not working. And then I come into Skype chat, and I'm like, guys, like, the Destiny beta isn't downloading. And they were all like, it's working fine for me, Major. Cheesy laugh. And I was like, I hate you all so much. I'm going to figure this out. And then I just realized it's because I didn't have Xbox Live Gold. But now on Xbox One, your profile doesn't tell you have Xbox Live Gold. There's nowhere on the menus. When you download it, like I tried to download it, it didn't say, sorry, this didn't work because your Xbox Live Gold has run out. It just didn't work. It just said, sorry, something went wrong. It's like, that's not helpful. Tell me. Like 360 would tell you. It's just like, I don't understand how a multi-million-dollar company can get an UI so horribly wrong. I don't get it.
They're pushing that Windows 8, and Windows 8 is just not a good system by my standards. I don't like it.
It's very unintuitive. I mean, it's built for phones. That's the thing, but I don't know why iOS is taking priority over PC. Like, it's madness to me, in my honest opinion.
The menu is good. What about
the graphics? The game looked amazing. Like
the graphics do look nice.
I think they look very, very pretty, and I think everything looks like filled out and atmospheric in the way you'd want it to, and like a lot of stuff has a rustic look. I think there needs a bit more variety in the way that stuff looks, and I think that will, be covered. I think that will be one small portion. Like this is the Devil's Lair area.
Probably once they get the full game.
But I hope they really, really go like exploratory with the way that the environments look, because I want to see something like completely out of the blue. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh. Like, does this happen to you guys? Like, I don't know how you feel about the armor or whatever, but as soon as they give me some sort of upgrade, like I automatically deconstruct the other one that I had. Like, or I dismiss it or get rid of it or whatever. Yeah. Turn it in for the blue ball shit. You know, I'm sorry. Am I allowed to say shit? It gives
you money. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Sorry.
It's totally fine. Like, yeah, I mean, I just get rid of it anyway. You don't really get that much money for selling the stuff, which I kind of find annoying. And I think I wish there was like this is a game where I wish there was an auction house. Can I talk about another part of the game that kind of bothers me? Is that the town that you go to at the beginning, other than the people who are there walking around, which, does kind of fill it out a bit, it feels kind of dead. Whenever I go there, I'm just a bit like, when I compare it to other homeworlds in other games, for example, World of Warcraft, when you go to Stormwind, if you've ever been there, it is crazy. Like, the first time you go there, it is an experience. You see people running down the streets. You see big flying griffins going over you. You see, like, flight paths. There's a train station. And it feels like a living, breathing world. Like, I know that's, like, some funny PR speak, but it truly does. And, like, I was overwhelmed the first time I went there. When I went to the Destiny homeworld, I wanted to get out of there. I was like, this is boring. You have a bunch of, like, NPCs. You know what I wish they did? I wish they had stuff like people who gambled. Like, there was, like, gambling minigames. There was poker minigames. There was just stuff going on. I wish it felt more alive, because it feels
almost like a Fable or a Skyrim.
Yeah, exactly. They don't need to go crazy with it. I'm not asking for like an RPG game inside a game, but I'm just asking for a little bit of like side activity and to not feel like I want to get out of the main place, because it's a very nice looking area. It's something that I have a problem with in the game in general, is that they have like, I'll be traveling through the area and I'll be like, wow, this is probably one of the best looking areas I've been in, but there's absolutely nothing to do in it, so I'm going to move over to the next world. Like, the open world side of Destiny so far hasn't really given you that much exploration. I know people are probably going to say right now, oh, there's golden chests that you can collect, but there's like 6 of them, and, I found a couple of them, but it's just not that crazy.
Yeah. Like I was saying earlier, the exploration factor just isn't there. I mean, I even went around the tower, and if you go out of that main little hub, there's nothing there other than to look at pretty things. I mean, I didn't find anything. I don't know about you guys.
No, well, who knows? Maybe they are considering mini games or something like that. Like, because like if the campaign is the main focus of this game, not to say it's not expansive enough or anything like that. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that maybe they are. Like, if campaign is supposed to be like the most focus of this game, then they might have mini games.
Yeah, it might be something like, the tower isn't actually like the main port of call for players. Like, it's actually like when you get to level 10, you'll be able to go to this place, which is like the actual sprawling like city center of the entire game, and that's where everyone
like your
goes
apartment.
And meets up. Maybe. I think it'd be cool. Like, they could do. I just want like little side activities to make the world feel people like more alive, like gladiator arenas and stuff like that. Place to put like I really wish they did the PvP honestly completely differently. I wish they just made it a part of the world. It feels very separate and not necessarily in a good way. Whereas they could have just had like an arena that you go into and it's like a spectacle almost. There's people watching. You can bet on the games and you just like put your gear and put your character to the test in some sort of small way. Like I don't know. I
But
just
that is cool how at the tower they do have the like bounties,
yeah.
I
I
guess
got a
you'd
couple of
say.
them where you like kill a certain amount of enemies or something like that. Yeah, that's,
Right,
that's
you get like
Challenges.
first blood like 3 times or
but you
whatever.
only
Yeah.
as far don't you only get glitter for that anyway? Like only money. You don't get like I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe in the actual game, they'll do more gear. But I had another thing I wanted to bring up also is like something that annoys me about the game so far is the lack of like gear that drops. And maybe this is a problem because it's only early on in the game. But whilst I was going through the campaign, the lack of gear that I found and the gear that I did find was never really that fascinating. You know, in terms of like. This is a sci-fi game. This is a sci-fi shooter. I was expecting them to be a little bit more inventive with the weapons that I did pick up because a lot of the stuff I got felt like Call of Duty assault rifles or maybe Crisis assault rifles being, nicer to them. It felt like, it had a bit of a sci-fi skin tacked on it, but the way that they actually worked and felt and functioned and their abilities were just kind of bog standard. Like I don't know. There are weapons that were better. For example, like the hand cannons, the shotgun, the more like up close and personal weapons. They were done perfectly, and the punch that you get to them is amazing. But I'm surprised they didn't explore with stuff like incendiary weapons and elemental weapons, lightning weapons, or like just if you look at Halo Reach for example, this was something they nailed with like the alligator gun, the way that the grenade launcher works. They had really inventive weapon selection, and I was hoping for a little bit more of that. Um,
Yeah.
to be honest. And when you kill a boss in that game, nothing happens. I was expecting like in Borderlands and other games of this nature, when you kill a boss, it's like, okay, guys, hunting season, let's get our freaking gear, and you run in there, you pick up as much gear as you physically can, and then you're like, oh my god, there's a rare, oh my god, there's a rare, this is sick. And I was like. I couldn't wait to defeat a boss. I was like, what are we going to get from this? And then we defeat a boss, and what drops? Like, explosive ammo. It's like, that's not fun. That's not sad. It's like, our reward for killing this massive boss
Ooh.
is a bit of experience, a bit of coins. That's it. Like, you don't want your game to be like, you don't want your game to feel like, oh, I'll get the money and then I'll bring it back to the town and I'll buy good gear. You want it to be like, I'm an adventurer. I went on an adventure and I got this piece of armor. Look at it. It's freaking badass. Like, I don't
Right,
know.
or even
Yeah.
even just something to show off. Like I could see them possibly doing like timed events, much like the Iron Curtain or whatever the heck it's called. Um, like to where it's like play between these like 2 hours or whatever and win this specific mission on hard or legendary, whatever it may be, and then you unlock this certain trophy, like, and what I mean by trophy is like helmet, or you unlock this certain color of whatever. That
Yeah.
way people know like what you have. I would really like to see that. If they don't do something like that, that'd be kind of, I think, a
Disappointing.
waste. It'd be
Yeah.
disappointing.
Imagine if like a NPC like showed up at the tower or showed up like in the middle of your travel and went, "There's a dragon over the hills. He's attacking the people. Go and take them out,
Right.
Guardians." Or not necessarily a dragon, but any like just giant monster, and then you come out and like attack it in a group event, and then you get some sick piece of armor for doing so. I think that would be really good. I
Or
think it
even
needs
like,
more
Yeah, that should.
randomness and to make it feel more natural rather than like because I think one of the worst things I could say about Destiny's PvE so far is that like I might be doing the same as someone else, like the exact same. And what you want is individuality in this type of game. You want like different armor, you want different weapons, you want your own stuff, you want something that you stand for. You want to like tell a story that no one else has had. You want to be like, hey, in my story, I actually ended up here instead of where you ended up, and now I'm on this side mission in the middle of nowhere. And like that would be really satisfying. But I feel like every conversation I have with someone is like, "Hey, do you do Devil's Lair? Yeah, pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, Devil's Lair.
but
It
Yeah,
see,
is.
that
It
Devil's
is
Lair."
though.
but see, like the thing is, I think to the core, like that's what Destiny and that's what Bungie wants is they want to have the shared experience. Not to say that everything's equal or anything like that. I don't want to make it seem like that, but they do kind of want you to have what they call the cheese-tastic, like water cooler moment where you talk about defeating something with your friends and like whatever. It's very cheese-tastic and that's fine. I understand that. But it's It's like what you're preaching, the individuality, is something that we as gamers, especially like from a competitive sense, want, because we're about individual achievements. Like, did you see that like
Yeah.
awesome kill, blah 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 blah. And like I just don't think that's in the stars for Bungie as a company. They're more of like, let's do this co-op experience and build friendships based off of like earning loot together. Like I really think this is their dream game.
I think so too.
I think it could work in PvE to an extent. You know, I think like people are already having fun with it. Like the majority of people I hear and I talk to, like their fun usually comes from like the experiences they had with friends so far, more so than like talking about like the fact that we took this boss down together. You said, and it's more about like, oh, we all shared this moment. It was insane. We had laughs. Blah 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 blah. It's kind of a shame that that mentality also bleeds into the PvP, which is intentionally, inherently should be more aggressive and should be against each other. You know, you want to show off your gear and show that you're doing best. But I can't help but feel like they made the PvP as a game for them to have fun, as a game that the Bungie developers would sit at home and play together. And that's all great. But when you put that in online, they are underestimating the scumbaggery that occurs in the community when you give like too many
That's a
tools,
good way to put it.
too much power. It's like they're just not thinking. They're like, yeah, but when we play at our offices at Bungie, we have a whale of time. It's like, yeah, you're not psychopathic KD whores. Like, you play normally. These people don't. When I go into matchmaking, I can't let them have too many tools because they will sit around a corner and they will shoot me with a one-hit pistol
They will hit me
as
with
many
that
times
bolt
as they
shot.
can.
Bro, what were they thinking with the interceptor, man?
Okay, can I say like
Oh,
the interceptor?
yeah.
Like, okay, I got a lot of things. The interceptor is one of the coolest vehicles to use. Like the boost on the back of it is like, oh my god, it's one of the most satisfactory boosts I've ever seen in a game.
Right.
But why didn't they carry on the boarding option from Halo? Like, and this isn't even like I want the game to be Halo. It's just like no, but there's no counter to that vehicle. If they're not going to put in a boarding, they at least need some sort of a counter. The only counter
Where's
people
the
seem to
Spartan
have right
laser
now.
on? Where's the Spartan laser
Yeah.
on the map? I mean, that
I mean,
needs
like
to
the
be
heavy
there.
people will probably say the heavy ammo and pick up a rocket launcher, but then you're like, I don't know, like you're ruining your own experience because you're having to be the heavy ammo guy on your team and you don't get to
Right.
use the light machine gun and mow people down, which is clearly the funner
But
option.
again,
You're instead now anti-vehicle.
that's where Bungie comes in and they say, well, you and your friends need to coordinate together and both pull out rockets and shoot it at the same time, and then it will explode it. And it's just like, oh, another shared experience. It's like, no, dude, I want to be able to take the thing down by myself, and it's like
Yeah, have
way
a
too
chance of
OP.
taking it down. Like, did the blasts are like I can't even say a
Oh, they're
rocket launcher.
so
They're
big.
crazier than a rocket launcher. They are
Like
mental.
it's automatic, like it's a homing missile. And then on top of that, like the whole time I got into an interceptor maybe like twice, man. And the whole time I was laughing. The reason being is because like I wanted to just shake my head because I felt like such a dick riding around in the thing. Like I knew as soon as I got in, jumped into that thing, I knew I was going to
You
ruin
just
somebody's
the
experience.
feeling of power when you step into that vehicle, when you boost for the first time, it's like, oh shit, this whole team is about to get wrecked right now. Like, it's
And they
crazy.
did. Like it was my longest kill streak. I think I got 9 kills in a row,
It's
which
just like
is
I don't know. It's just the whole time that moon map. Like the other map is better, I think. Like the other
Yeah, I
map
would agree with that.
is a moon is a beautiful map though,
it's
for the
a
record.
choice,
It's
dude.
like
Major. It's a choice between AIDS and cancer. Which one do you want?
oh god.
Like, and Diddy made a thing, not to call Diddy out, whatever. He was like, well, for the Halo 3 beta, you had Snowbound and Valhalla, and it's like, yeah, any one of those maps, I
Yeah,
would take tenfold over any of these maps.
I know where you're coming
Like,
from.
sure, it might not work for, I guess you'd say, the Destiny engine, but I'm just saying, like, Snowbound's a decent level.
The
Like,
conversation I have with Dell is like these people.
hindsight is 2020, man. So shout out to Diddy there,
Yeah, and
fighting.
Snowbound only looked worse in like comparison to like other maps on Halo 3 because Halo 3 probably had the best like map lineup of all time. It wasn't like that. It wasn't a disastrous map by any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
Um,
Okay,
but
anyway, back to what you were saying. The Venus map is better. Mars,
yeah,
whatever.
the Venus Mars is a little bit better. There's actually some really really cool jump routes, and I think the jetpack actually not the jetpack, but the little thruster pack works
Ugh,
a little bit better.
don't
But
get me started. I hate
But
that
at the end
thing.
of the day, like I am sat there thinking like the more I play and the mistakes that I make are usually down to the fact of I went down that corner around that corner too fast. I went around that corner too fast. I got a little bit aggressive happy and it's not necessarily that I played badly aggressively, it's that I like made a push I shouldn't have. And when I started playing it a little bit more like Call of Duty, I used to be a Call of Duty player. Like I'm
Yeah.
not afraid to say it, guys. Um
Disgusting, Major. Disgusting.
I just gagged in my mouth a little bit. But no, I used to like what you did in Call of Duty is you got a power position and you moved from side to side essentially. Like I wouldn't necessarily outright camp, but like you'd lock down a
Patrol.
position and
You
you'd
hold down an
patrol from
area.
Yeah.
Right. You
patrol from that
patrol it.
side, and it works in Destiny. The second I started doing that, I was seeing massive results because when you walk around the map, aggression is just not promoted whatsoever. And
No,
people are going
you're
to say
gonna
there's
get
two more
killed.
maps. But we know okay, with PvE, it's a lot more open-ended at this point. And anyone who says it's flat out terrible at this point is probably being an idiot. Anyone who says it's flat out amazing is also kind of being an idiot, in my opinion. But when it comes to PvP, you kind of know what they're getting into. You know what their whole mindset is approaching it. And from my personal perspective, and like I said, I played COD, so this isn't like a whole I love Halo and I won't play anything that's not Halo. It's just like I question that game's fun because I like games that promote aggression in some form. I don't even not necessarily promote aggression, but you can approach it the way you want. You get to play the game you want, and I feel like when players get into that game and get their teeth into it, bear in mind this is just early days of the beta, so everyone's like a complete scrub in some respect to the core
Right.
game mechanics.
Except for Ninja, which I don't quite
Yeah.
understand how he's been playing that for
For
12 hours a
so
day.
long. He's sick
Ugh.
at it, dude.
How
I
does he
think
do
people
that?
really like the snipers. The snipers are very cheesy.
Yeah,
To
I
say the
actually
least.
pick. That's usually what I'm carrying as a sniper. Then I'll just
Oh,
sit back in a corner. I mean, honestly, I gave up on those objectives.
They're like one hit kill pretty much any
They
round of it.
are. They are. And
hey,
they're
quick pro
super
tip.
easy to use.
I got a really quick pro tip. Do not pick the Warlock because that's absolutely terrible, and you'll get ripped up by either a Hunter or a Titan
Really?
every single
Okay.
time.
I've been getting destroyed though by the supernova that they use because if they go like to a domination point, like this guy came up to us, me and Nick, me and Nick were in like this like locking down the map, like okay, we got B, we got B, we got B. One guy just walks around the corner, Warlock jumps in the air, Nova bomb, we're dead. I was just like, oh, sad face. Like they murder. They're super good. I don't know what isn't good about the Warlock. Are they weaker or something? I don't know.
Or
Like
they
they have a
jump out with that
glide.
one-hit pistol kill thing.
That's the Hunter.
Ugh.
Yeah, no, dude, that's ridiculous. I've gotten
That's
into so many situations where I deserve to die hands down, and I just pull out the Warlock golden. It's a golden gun. If this was any other game, everyone would be going mental. Imagine if a Halo game put in a golden gun that wasn't a kill streak.
Bolt
It's just
shot.
something you unlock. This is like
no, not that Halo.
no,
No,
no, no, no, no, no.
imagine this. Imagine this.
Bolt shot was hard to use at the beginning of Halo 4. This isn't. The amount of auto aim that you have on this pistol is a disgrace. I just press L trigger and shoot, and someone dies. Like if it's anywhere near them, L trigger, auto aim, ridiculous. They put so much auto aim in this game. It's kind of humiliating, to be honest.
That's true. They have.
And it makes the gunfights extremely boring. Can I say, like, the strafing isn't very good in this game. The only movement option that I have to, like, outplay enemies, I feel like, is the jump. Like, if I do the jumping at the right time and, like, try and overwhelm the player, that might get them. But at a higher level, it isn't going to overwhelm them, and they're just going to stand back, let me do stupid jumpy stuff, and kill me. And
Right.
the strafing is like if you actually try and like strafe from left to right, it's really really stiff and it doesn't feel right, and it's just not very good at all. And there's no drop shot like you have in Call of Duty. That used to be one of the things that mixed up. You hold B and you go down to the floor, like,
Right.
and that makes you a much harder target to hit. But there's nothing like that. There's literally no other movement option. So yeah,
Also Warlock has glide, which is absolutely garbage. Like if you try to jump up to a certain situation, like up like 2 levels, get a double jump or whatever, you just can't do it because you
really
immediately
have.
fall.
Yeah, true. And you really have to get yourself accustomed to it because if you do it at the wrong time, like you are just stuck in the air. You are like an immobile target, and they can just get you, and it will take you so long to land back on the ground. Like the hunter's double jump. I don't know what the other guy. So the warlock does that long floaty jump. The hunter does a regular double jump. Does the titan also do a regular double jump? I think the titan has a slightly floaty one.
I think you can. I think you can get a
I
double
think
jump.
there's one that has a triple jump, I want to say.
I
don't
use the hunter. It's kind of if you activate the jetpack thing, you can't turn it off. It's until it's
The
done.
hunter? Are you sure? I have the
No,
hunter, and it just
the Titan.
Does a Titan? No, Warlock. No, Titan. Yeah, everyone was using the Titan. I was going to use the Titan, but then
Bungie does have an obsession with jetpacks, though.
They do.
And
I said
I
that
know.
in one
It's
of the
ridiculous.
tweets or something. It's like,
Jetpack I want to see removed.
why
from
do they love that
everything.
jetpack so much?
I don't understand it.
But the skill tree, I'm kind of like, I'm very curious to see like what the other skills are like right now. Because honestly, the Titan, like, the Titan punch isn't as good as it could be. It could be amazing. I wish it did a bit more knockback and had a bit more like, you know, like a Falcon punch from Super Smash Brothers. If you've seen that, I want it to be like Falcon punch and then boom, like everyone falls back. But it's just a bit like bang, double, like a bigger punch. The Hunter's Golden Gun ability is cool. I really honestly like it in single player. In multiplayer, it has no place. It's dumb. A one-hit weapon with 3 bullets in with ridiculous auto-aim. It's a travesty, I think. And the Nova Bomb, once again, like it in the single player, but it has too much area of effect damage. Like if 3 people are on a flag, they die, basically.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this, like, Warlock to me is just, it's useless at this point. Like, people will say, like, I'm pretty sure in the comments section, whatever, hate, like, ooh, I kill with the Warlock, I'm so good. It's like, dude, compared to a Hunter, they have nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
The Hunter's jump is so controllable. Like, I'll say that. Like, it's super, like, that was one of the funnest aspects. It was becoming a bit like Titanfall, where, like, you're working out, like, free running routes. Like, they did put a couple of cool routes on the map. But Titanfall had more movement options. It had the wall jump, and it just had, like, it felt way more fluid, the animations of just moving around. And Destiny doesn't necessarily feel like that. I feel a little bit stiff, and that might be down to, like, 30 FPS again. But it's just also in the lack of choice they really give you. And Rapscallion was also saying that, like, if you aim down sight and then try and turn or something like that, I can't remember, you sprint and then try and turn, it's, like, really, really
Slow.
choppy and hard
Yeah.
to do. So, once again, that encourages you to not push out. Because,
Or
like,
how about this?
If you get yourself caught in a bad situation, you won't be able to turn around quick enough.
Like, one of the biggest glitches I've seen, I think I brought this up to Craze last night, was if you switch from your primary, but it's something like I think they hit the nail on the head, was if you're going into that objective, you have to switch to your shotgun because you're gonna, like, you can't take your
Assault
rifle into a close quarters battle. It's always it's smarter to do shotgun or
That's true,
whatever
actually.
you have, right?
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
And that's a really good thing. It causes you to switch up weapons to where it's like, okay, I have to use a sniper here. Okay, it's a medium range thing. I'm getting closer, switch, and now it's close range. So now I have to go to the close range shotgun. Well, the thing is, if you die in the shotgun, like with a shotgun in your hand on Warlock, like if you're a Warlock or whatever, and you die with a shotgun in your hand, you respawn, and the gun that you have on respawn is the shotgun.
Yeah.
And it's just weird. So you immediately have to switch your gun right at the start, and it's like, no, I want to have my assault rifle or whatever.
Yeah. The shotgun is one of my favorite things about the game, actually. They
Right.
nailed the shotgun. In
love
multiplayer. In single player, okay, well, anyway, the first single player, the first shotgun you get, if you get one early on, it gets so terrible so quick. And I was like, oh no, like the shotgun looks so cool. But in PvP, it's like a tank. It can like one hit at pretty crazy range.
I honestly, that's what I'm going to do tonight. If you run into a lobby with me, I feel bad for you because I'm just going to sit on a flag the entire time with my shotgun waiting for somebody to come at me. Like that's all I'm doing tonight. I'm not going to go explore like I was last night. I'm just going to stick to my little objective and like patrol an area and dominate because I think that's the way
it's set up to be.
Yield the best success. And then on top of that, one thing that really bothers me is I want to hit the select button and I want to be able to see where I'm at KD wise mid game.
Oh, I don't know what. Yeah, no. At the end of the game, it doesn't. I swear, like you have to wait until like the end of the game, like when you go into the next lobby or something like that. It doesn't like. I don't know. Maybe you have to go into like a further back end menu, but the KD
Right.
They don't want you to know your deaths,
They
which I sort of
don't.
understand. But like they show you the KD ratio and not the deaths. So if they were going to be like, oh no, we want you to be objective players, I'd like be like, fair enough, that's okay. But it's like, well, we're going to show you the KD ratio so you can try and do some calculations. It's like, no, I'm not sat here with a calculator. I can't be bothered. I don't care. Like, what do they expect?
It says I had. It says I had 10 kills.
It's like
But
the
then-
KD checking metagame has like it's upgraded so much that like all the COD players have become like mathematicians and they're like,
Right.
oh, 1.7, that means I have 13 deaths compared to my 20. Oh, that's pretty good, I suppose. Moving on. I'm just like, no, I'm still dumb. Help me.
Right.
And,
Instead of quick CSR, they need quick KD.
yeah.
If somebody makes that
KD,
app,
yep.
that'd be
Oh,
great.
it would be used hard. No, well, there's already stuff like that on the app for like
Right, I
stat
know, I
checking.
understand.
I used to use it. That's how much of a scumbag I am. But yeah, I think like the PvP at the end of the day is going to be something that's going to be kind of disposable, unfortunately. And the PvP is where pretty much the majority of the potential lies. So I think I'm going to end the video there.
Well,
I hope you
hold
guys.
on. Just one
Okay,
more,
go on,
just
go
one
on.
more thing, Major. Okay. Number one, can we have a moment of silence for the people who thought this was going to be on MLG?
That was,
And then
if
after that,
anyone ever thought that, they are mental in the brain. I don't know.
Oh
And
man!
then,
Every
to
time,
me,
every
Bungie,
time I get online and see Twitter feeds, they say it's going to be competitive, and I'm like, oh my god, no, it's not.
I don't like being right about this sort of thing. It sucks. Like everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, hey, Major, great one. You got your way. The PvP sucks." It's like, no, I'm not happy about that. I'm so
right,
depressed. I
very
wanted to be the
frustrated.
best. I wanted Bungie to come out and say, "Oh, Major, were you doubting us, you freaking moron? Well, we knocked it out of the park." And it's like, no,
Right.
they actually didn't. And it's the same with like every aspect. Like,
And
let's just have,
I don't, here's the thing, I don't want it to be Halo. And that's not what a whole lot
yeah,
of people understand. I want a different experience from Halo. I play Halo for Halo, okay? I want to play Destiny to play this awesome, great thing, which is it possible? Sure. But at the end of the day, Bungie, and this is my final word, and then I'll just peace out, okay? Bungie at the end of the day to me is like that like psycho, like that girlfriend that broke up with you in high school or whatever, and then you see her like years later at Walmart, like broken down with like 5 kids and like screaming her head off like psycho. And like that's kind of where Bungie is to me. Like Bungie is that girl, like just I don't know
high
what
school
they're
crush, but
doing.
she became a bit damaged goods later on
Right.
in her life.
Just damaged.
It's
Ugh.
like, but you still like kind of look at her and like you see the fun and you're like, maybe I should hook up with her again because she was pretty
Right.
crazy.
She's
She did
got
a
kind of
lot
a
of
skanky
wild
side.
stuff in the bedroom, but it's like I don't want to do wild stuff. I always wanted a family anyway. Oh, get out of here! I don't want a family.
Right. So Bungie's that ex-girlfriend, like you're glad kind of like broke up with you and you kind of see it's kind of weird. It's just really weird, man. Bungie is weird.
Yeah, I will say like when
Yeah.
Halo 3 ended, I was ready for like Bungie's connection. I like Halo 3 was such a good finale to the trilogy for me in terms of like the way that the campaign ended. I was like, Bungie's time with Halo, I was done, and I was like, you know what, I am ready to like have a different type of game from them. I think that's cool. Like I'm glad they're not sticking to something that maybe they're not enjoying as much as they wanted to. It's just like when you hear they're going to MMO, which is having a lot of problems, you're like, oh my God, like, are they going to do the same thing with FPS that they did with MMO? And they're going to be all over the place and revolutionizing it. And they're overlooking stuff that are like talked about on forums by everyone. They're overlooking stuff that is like, like a not that in-depth skill tree, like not enough gear for players. And there's certain things that I'm just like, you're not doing it the Bungie way. Like, you're not living up to those standards I want you to just yet. Maybe the game will change it. I hope so. But yeah. I think we pretty much said anything we want to say. You got anything to say, Craze, before I wrap it up about Destiny?
I think that
Or are you
pretty
done?
much wraps up just about everything I had to say. To kind of go off with Clean there, I have to agree. I love Bungie. They created Halo, but I have to bring this up, and this last thing I kind of want to say is that remember Halo CE and Halo 2, the multiplayer was more or less an accident. It wasn't their original intentions. It was something that just kind of happened. But I think PvE is probably going to be pretty good. I don't know if I'm going to purchase the game just for that, though. I don't know how long-lived that's going to be. That's my thoughts.
Okay, cool. Well, I will be purchasing this game, and then I'll tell you guys if I think it's terrible, and then you'll all hate me for the rest of my life, but we'll see.
I'm gonna wait until you trade in your copy and then I'll buy it after
I
that.
never trade in games, dude. If you look at the games on my wall, there are a couple of dubious editions right there that are just hanging
Right.
on the wall. Like Dead Island Riptide. Ugh, that's a horrible game. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. It's in depth. I hope we didn't come across too negative. Bear in mind, we will all be playing the game. We are all open-minded. Well, maybe not crazed, but everyone else will be.
Hey, listen,
We're all open-minded except crazed.
If you guys like this game,
Yeah,
you know what I'm
absolutely.
saying? Like,
We're not
own
telling
this
you not
game, like, love it, share your thoughts, like, whatever.
to. And
Like,
then
you're
try and make
probably
us
not gonna.
jealous. Like upload stuff and be like, "We're having so much fun without you guys. This game's amazing. You guys suck. You're too old, all of you."
Yeah.
Just do that. That's totally fine. I want
Right.
you to. But
Yeah,
yeah, thank you
absolutely.
for watching, guys. We'll maybe do something like this in the future. But yeah, cheers. Peace out. Boom. That go well? Do you think? I think that went pretty
Yeah.
I think it went
You
well.
can. Hey, if you want to, you can take out my psycho girlfriend thing.
well. No, I love the psycho girlfriend.
No, I'm just saying, like, this is how it was to me. Like, like you're dating Bungie. Like, Bungie's in high school with you, and it's like, oh, I love you, and you had such a great relationship, but then for some odd reason, she broke up with you, and then like you see her later on down the road, and she's all like worn out and like ugly, and you finally see it for what it is, and it's just
You
this
get to have a
bad.
little